Welcome back, everyone, to a new year of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron. And
Remember how to do this?
I was just about to say the same thing. I have no idea what I'm doing.
I hit the red button. Is that good?
I know even less about podcasting than when we started.
That's saying something. I have little squiggles going in my Audacity. Is that what this program is called?
Yep, that's
respect
it.
Respect my Audacity.
Respect my Audacity. Wow, there's a new podcast right there.
Respect my Audacity. And take a drink, because I think South Park is one of our take a drink when we make a quote. That might be the record for we 20 seconds before we had a Dark Souls or Lovecraft or Bloodborne.
Well, now you just played all the hits.
What's our other drinking game shit? There's a few others.
Someone just got a Screenplay Rewind bingo because you just literally sat there and listed them all off.
Somebody was actually taking drinks and now has alcohol poisoning as a critical fucking status.
Bobby?
Yeah. Bobby, wake up, dude. Somebody turned Bobby on the side.
Oh, no.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't think we had any. Did you have any prompts for our Q&A? Oh, but by the way, welcome back, everyone.
What?
It's been
there's people here?
Yeah, well, welcome back. Listener.
Listener
Open
Bobby?
parentheses S, close parentheses. But yeah, it feels weird to be back. I've been we've both been kind of itching to come back and do this because even though it's not the biggest podcast in the world, it's always fun to record. It gives us an excuse to check out a movie.
And it's amazing how we only do this every other week, but going as long as we did between episodes, it's like I got to get in front of a microphone, man. It's driving me nuts. I got shit to say about things no one cares about.
I need to unleash my shitty opinions on the interwebs.
I was gonna say I have internet opinions that need to get out onto the internet.
I have internet opinions.
I have internet opinions. Did you do anything exciting during the break? That's the only thing I was gonna ask.
We went to the Tulsa Ballet's presentation of the Nutcracker, which was pretty fun because it's been a while since I had been to a live showing like that, just because with the pandemic and everything the past few years, and that was really cool. We're gonna try to make an effort to actually get out and see some more live stuff because it's always just a totally different vibe, going to see something like that,
right?
In an actual auditorium. What about you?
No, nothing too special. I'm roller skating now. I did that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's pretty much the only thing I did as a kid, and then I haven't done it 20 years. And then the kids got roller skates for Christmas.
Nice.
And then I went and got me roller skates after Christmas.
So here's a question: do you use the inline or do you use a little 2x2?
I have always despised inline. I remember when they got popular, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't make the change.
I'm the opposite. I have only ever used inline, so I literally cannot skate unless I'm on inline. If I try those 2x2 things, I just fall my ass.
Yeah, I have to do roller skates. I can't do inlines.
Interesting.
So yeah, they drive me nuts. But we have over in Owasso, there is a roller skating rink called Wheels and Thrills. And
nice.
I've been wanting to get the kids over there.
That'd be fun.
But right now they're trying to learn to stand up, and my legs are numb.
Well, there you go.
But yeah,
I see. It's funny. It's almost like there's it's not as much as learning to ride a bike. How you just kind of it clicks for you and you can do it. But it's a little bit like that because I always had a really hard time skating, and then it was just oh, I can kind of do this now, and it's just kind of random like that when that switch flicks. At least it was for me. I don't know if that's what was your experience, but
yeah,
I always really sucked at it, and then all of a sudden, oh, I can kind of do this now.
Yeah, you eventually just kind of get it, and like I said, it's been somewhere between 20 and 25 years since I've roller skated, and I got on them and was kind of scooting around a little bit at first, and then once I got a little bit more courage, I just kind of started skating. I wasn't the most stable, but my body just remembered how to do it. And then I got to the point where I was telling Chris after the first time I got on my new skates, my brain remembered how to do it. My body kind of remembered how to do it. But the last time my brain told my body how to do it, I was 12. So, like, my body has changed a lot. I'm a lot taller. My legs are a lot longer. I'm a lot heavier. So, like, my brain remembers how to do it from a long time ago, but things have changed. And like, it was just kind of weird. But like today, I was just zipping around the driveway while the kids were like riding their bicycles and stuff. It was just no big deal. Like
you just rub it in the kid's face because they're learning and they suck and you can do it. You're just like, stupid bastards. They can't fucking skate.
They've never seen someone roller skate. That was the thing. That was the thing I was trying to tell. Is like one of the reasons why I wanted it is I want to get them over to the roller skating rink, and they've got roller skates and they know how to stand up and scoot around on them a little bit, but they've never actually seen someone skate. So I wanted to get out there on my own and just so they can see what it looks like. And I want them to be like, that actually looks like fun, because Haley is dubious. Nathan is kind of all about it. So we'll see.
Yeah. You ever do ice skating?
I have. I can't stop. I can do everything else. I cannot stop.
I can stop when my face, plants into the ice. That's about it.
I can do a quadruple lutz, but I can't stop.
I am actually like kind of afraid of ice skating because
the blade.
Because when you have like 100 people on the rink with
knives on their feet,
with fucking
just 100 gazelles running around,
they're just skating around with fucking Mortal Kombat fatalities at a moment's notice, and I'm just like, I'm good. I'll go stick with the rollerblades. Where you might like get fucked up if someone like crashes in you, but you're not gonna get your fucking carotid artery sliced open. Like,
that's like always the most terrifying thing that happens during the Olympics is like during the couple skating when someone like kicks someone else. Like, my God.
Yeah.
My God.
And then they get extra points because it's fucking Thunderdome. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. But no, that was gonna be one of my questions is if you and or Aurora skates, because that's something to do up here since we have a roller skating rink.
Yeah, I'm down to do it. I don't know if she actually. I know she's also like me in that she's like fuck no to ice skating, but I think she's down for rollerblading. I don't know if she's.
It's not as cold when you fall.
Yeah, that also helps. But yeah, I would be down.
The thing that actually surprised me, just speaking of, the first time I fell ice skating, I was surprised when it didn't stop my momentum. like that makes sense. But I'm used to hitting
I took out that 5-year-old kid, man. It was a nightmare.
I'm used to hitting the ground and that being the end of it. I'm not used to hitting the ground and continuing at same speed.
And then, it was terrifying. Ron hit the ice at the rink, took out that 5-year-old while doing the Viking berserker screech, and it was just no fucking good for anybody, man. But man, you want to talk about some Northmen?
Let's talk about some Northmen.
Also, yeah. So just real quick, we always do full spoilers, so please have watched the movie. This is probably the most straightforward movie Robert Eggers has ever done.
I agree.
Which, when you've done something like The Lighthouse, it's not saying much, because I'm still trying to figure out that shit like 3 years later, but, that's part of the fun.
I don't know what I watched, but I liked it.
If I had a steak. Oh, man. It's so good. But yeah, full spoilers for The Northman. It's weird. Just my like quick thought was, even though the plot is pretty straightforward and predictable, the scene to scene like minutia of the movie is not. Like, there is just some like the scene where the main guy turns the friends of the uncle's prince into like a fucking Hannibal Lecter art project thing.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the fuck? But so I think it is something to check out. Also, like I think probably like the strongest parts of this movie is just the cinematography and some of the visuals. Like, this movie has some of the best establishing shots I think I've ever seen. Like, some of these scenes with the like fjords in the background and like the stars and the moon. There's like a real like ethereal nature to the scene progression of it. I think it's really cool.
The closest rival I've seen to what you're talking about is Prey.
Yeah.
It's kind of in that vein with the establishing shots and stuff. The thing I was going to point out is the tracking shots are insane.
It's so good. It's gorgeous. Like this is probably one of those films that I think will be taught in film schools.
Absolutely.
Just because of the visuals, and
it might even be in history class, not just film schools, because Eggers said that he was trying to create like the most historically accurate version of the Vikings he possibly could.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of Viking material is kind of afraid to go like full representation of just how brutal they were. Yes. And just how weird they were. So like a lot of the rituals you see, a lot of the sacrifices are historically accurate based on accounts. Just how fucking bizarre their rituals and how
most movies are afraid to not get the audience kind of on the hero's side. And usually human ritual sacrifice and raping and pillaging and burning children are generally not a good way to get the audience on the hero's side.
It's like the opposite of saving the cat, I would say. Yeah,
exactly. So, this movie is just on Front Street with Viking culture and everything that they did and what they believed.
Interesting as fuck, but they are not good guys. They are absolutely, and like the revelation of what you find out about Ethan Hawke's character and how his actions played into the origin story for the main character are interesting. Let's go through the cast and crew before we start full blown discussion. So we mentioned Robert Eggers is your director and co-writer here. The Robert Eggers people will know from The Witch that put him on the map, and one of our favorite movies of the last several years that we've already had on this show, The Lighthouse. That is just I actually was talking to Aurora because she was watching part of the Northman with me tonight, and she hasn't seen The Lighthouse, and I was just talking to her because she also has like an appreciation for classic film and acting and everything, and just showing her the trailer of The Lighthouse and how
not exactly Little Mermaid.
Not exactly. Not exactly. If I had a steak. It is just, you cannot describe that movie. You just have to see it to fucking believe it. Like using 100-year-old light technology just to get the look down
and camera lens
is just so admirable and so cool. And I love that. Just that his entire like attention to detail.
Sorry, continue.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, after The Lighthouse, we were already excited for Nosferatu. After watching The Northman, how much more excited are you for his Nosferatu?
Yeah, that's probably my most anticipated movie. Is his Nosferatu. I just can't fucking wait. It's gonna be so creepy. It's gonna look so fucking cool. It's gonna have amazing actors in it because, he just, man. Now this is I will say, while I really really enjoy this is probably my least favorite of his. The Lighthouse is my favorite, and The Witch is just like fucking genius in its simplicity and how creepy it gets at points.
I still haven't seen The Witch.
I will probably have it on the podcast this year just to keep us up to date on Robert Eggers stuff, because I also really really like The Witch.
That's the Vivitch, right?
Yes,
the double V Witch.
Yeah.
Okay.
That attention to detail I was talking about, one of the most impressive things he's done is his first feature-length movie being The Witch. Their dialogue is entirely time period appropriate.
Oh no.
so they are talking like very bizarrely. This is actually where Anya Taylor-Joy, who stars in this movie as one of the co-leads, who plays Olga, the sorceress that is the girlfriend of the main guy. That's where they met, because Anya Taylor-Joy, her kind of breakout performance, her breakout performance to like Gen Pop is The Queen's Gambit, but the thing that put her on the map for like film nerds and everything was the Witch.
She talked about The Witch like it was her first film set.
Yeah, her performance in that is just spectacular. Like her ability to deliver those weird ass fucking 1400s lines that he wrote for them, because like he fucking scoured journal entries of people from that time period to get like their dialect down. Like the dude's insane, and I love him for it because his movies are always like, even if like in this movie, you'll have like a straightforward thing ostensibly happening, but everything is always interesting. There's either like, you know, like a weird character quirk, you know, like with the characters in the Lighthouse, how like there's always like a sense of unpredictability about his movies, which I really like, to where you're kind of like on edge the entire time, even if it seems straightforward, because you're just like, what the fuck's gonna happen next?
Right.
The fucking Northman has some Dark Souls mini boss battles, and I'm just like, this is fucking amazing, and I love you, Robert Eggers. Like when he goes into that cave, and he has a Dark Souls, but he's basically like doing the fucking rolling on the ground, like he's like mid-rolling, dude, and it's like, I love this movie. This is awesome.
The thing that I was reminded of is during the Viking raid, they go up over the wall, and it's just doing that long shot of him walking through the village killing people. It reminded me a lot of that Assassin's Creed trailer, the Viking one.
If you could give me a 3 or 6 episode Bloodborne miniseries on HBO directed and written by Robert Eggers, could you imagine?
Eggers teamed up with Guillermo del Toro.
Dude, can you just like, he could actually pull off that like FromSoft weirdness, because it's in here. Just that very, very weird, that almost seems like it doesn't have like a time and place.
You know who Gehrman would be, right? I've said I wanted Sam Neill for Gehrman, but Eggers' track record so far, it would end up being goddamn Willem Dafoe.
Oh man, that'd be
would be Gehrman.
Would be no. He would play Mikolash, and that would be fucking awesome. He'd be amazing. Oh wait, no, he'd have his boy. He'd have Ralph Ineson play Gehrman probably. He's in this. Ralph Ineson, people recognize from Game of Thrones, and in a small role there. He is the father in The Witch, and he's spectacular in that movie. He's just fucking amazing. Everyone will recognize him because he's like Gary from Bonfire Side Chat said it best. He has the voice of Satan. He's always instantly recognizable because he just has the coolest voice of all time. Man, yeah, he's the guy on the ship at the end of this that is like the captain of the ship that the girlfriend gets away on.
Yeah, he's in Guardians. I know that when I looked him up.
Oh yeah. He's popped up in a few things the last few years. He's the voice of the Green Knight in that movie, and it's just a fucking amazing performance because that guy has the coolest voice in Hollywood. Just awesome. Yeah, pretty much everyone in The Witch is in this. The mom plays one of the people that is like overseeing the slaves in the uncle's village. Ralph Ineson, was the ship captain. Anya Taylor-Joy, obviously. Probably even others I think there was like another kid that was in this, probably from The Witch as well. I just didn't recognize him because he's grown up a little bit over the last several years. But man, I like how he has his like group of core actors that he will put, even if it's in bit roles, they'll continue working with them. And excited to see, because you just know like Willem Dafoe's gonna be playing somebody in Nosferatu, and he's gonna be acting bad shit because that is the track record.
Is there a Renfield in Nosferatu?
Like, we can only hope.
Powers Booth is the name I couldn't think of. That when I think of the voice of Satan, I think of Powers Booth.
Also one of the most iconic, amazing voices of all time.
Real quick,
love me some Powers Booth.
Another good one was what was his name? He was in Ghost Rider. He was Satan. He is literally Satan in.
Kieran Hines.
Yeah.
Or Kieran Hines. I don't know pronounce his name. Yeah. Also awesome. Or he might have been Satan in the sequel. I don't know if you're talking about the sequel. Isn't it? Kieran Hines plays Satan in the second Ghost Rider movie.
Okay.
I didn't know if you're talking. So,
the first one is Peter Fonda. I'm pretty sure.
Fonda. Yeah.
Mephistopheles.
I was getting the Ghost Riders mixed up. But yeah, Robert Eggers is the director and co-writer here. He co-wrote it with I apologize. I'm going to mispronounce 1,000 different
names.
Nordic names, because even if you watch the movie, they say the names so fast.
Oh yeah, they say the names like it's John Smith.
Yeah, I cannot like pick up on these pronunciations. I can barely pronounce English names on a good day, let alone fucking ancient Nordic ones. I believe it is either Sean or Shone, who is the co-writer here. He is someone that had been a friend of Robert Eggers and had been talking to him a lot, because apparently pretty much everyone involved in this, between Alexander Skarsgård, Eggers, and Sean, like all of them are just Viking nerds essentially, and they were just talking about projects they'd like to do, and they all just like like fuck it, let's make a Viking movie.
Well,
and then
yeah,
you get those.
Alexander Skarsgård was trying to make a Viking movie and could never get one off the ground.
Yeah, for years. Like
years.
I think the Wikipedia page was talking about how he had one like greenlit originally in like 2011, and then it got put into development hell, and then eventually you get this. So, we have a really, really great cast here. We mentioned Alexander Skarsgård; he plays the main character Amleth. You have Nicole Kidman here. Nicole Kidman's really good in this too.
Yeah, she is.
I am usually not the world's biggest Nicole Kidman fan. I think sometimes she has good performances and sometimes she kind of like phones it in. I think she's fantastic here. Just playing fucking unhinged Queen Gudrun, however you want to pronounce it.
Nicole Kidman for me is one of those that when she's used well, I tend to really like her, but she has to be cast well. Whereas people like Ben Affleck, it's like, what's a big name? Ben Affleck? Okay, put Ben Affleck in here and he doesn't fit anything. She tends to be, I don't know if she's selective about her roles or what, but I tend to be a fan of her, even though she's just Nicole Kidman and everything, because she usually fits the role that she's in. So I don't know if that's her being selective or what. I haven't seen her do anything in a long time. I don't know what she's been up to.
Yeah,
I was surprised to see her in this.
She might also be one of those people who you will see have their performance caliber will change drastically depending on the direction they're receiving, and Eggers just has done nothing but turn out fucking amazing performances by actors in his films thus far. So that could be a big part of it too. Just because I think she's like almost unrecognizable in certain scenes here, especially towards the end.
Oh
when
my
they
God!
Kind of have like
when the
when
reveal.
they have her. Yeah, when they have her character revelations come out, like it's fucking creepy, and she's unsettling.
She's
in a way
terrifying.
She's terrifying in a way I have never seen. She's always just kind of been there, but she's just like amazing in this. An actor I was not familiar with, but I think is also really good in here is Claes Bang, who plays Fjolnir the Brotherless. He's really good. He's playing our antagonist here. He's not in the movie for very long. I also love Ethan Hawke in this. Ethan Hawke as this type of character is also not somebody you would typically see cast in this type of role, but I think is also really just expertly picked here. What did you think of him in the beginning as the king coming back?
I love Ethan Hawke and everything he's in.
Yeah, I always like Ethan Hawke a lot.
I don't always like his stuff, but I always like him in whatever he's in.
Yeah, I think he's always good. It's just this isn't the type of role you would typically see him chosen for, which I think makes it interesting. Like him and Nicole Kidman both. You would not expect to see them playing Vikings in something this kind of something like this going after such like historical accuracy, because typically they're just not. You have those types of people, like the kind of like the group of actors that you would be seeing chosen for Vikings, or like wildlings in Game of Thrones, those types of kind of actors, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these people don't seem like that kind of like a prototype for that, but they're really, really good.
Did you know that there's only 3 years difference in age between him and Nicole Kidman?
I did not, but that's crazy.
She's 3 years older than him, because the question I had when I saw them, and I was like, what is their age difference for them to be king and queen in this?
Mm-hmm.
Because for some reason, I expected that gap to be a lot wider than that. But he was born in 1970, and she was born in 1967.
Crazy. We have Anya Taylor-Joy, as we mentioned. She plays Olga of the Birch Forest.
This is the first time I've seen one of her performances.
What did you think of Anya Taylor-Joy?
I like her. I don't know that she is the absolute greatest actress I've ever seen in my life, because every podcast I listen to, no one shuts up about her. But
yeah, so part of that with this is her. This is her performance is kind of tied to like what she's kind of given to do.
Mm-hmm.
In this, she has a lot more to do in The Witch, and basically carries the entire movie.
I hear she's really good at chess.
The Queen's Gambit is also an amazing show. I know it's kind of become like a meme at this point because people just became obsessed with it, but it is a great show, and she's great.
You can't say The Queen's Gambit without me thinking about Arrow, because wasn't that the name of the boat that went down?
It was. I'd forgotten about that, but yeah, it was.
Every time I hear Queen's Gambit, I think of fucking CW Arrow.
Nobody wants that.
And nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
So yeah, but
that is what's showing at the gates of hell, Ron. It's just a TV with an ongoing loop of all the CW DC shows, and it's absolute hell and purgatory, and you do not want to be there, bro. You will jump in the pit of lava.
I've always heard that her performance would just like blow my head off my shoulders, and she was good. She was good. I liked her.
The way she carries the witch is a lot more impressive, and especially like just some of the fucking dialogue that poor girl had to learn is crazy. The rest of the cast, I'd probably say like the other like shining spot is obviously Willem Dafoe, even though he's not in the movie for very long. Willem Dafoe plays the fucking Viking jester in this.
When he shows up in the mask, I was like, oh my god, I know that voice.
Yeah. Popping up like fucking Nordic Green Goblin up in here.
And his rim shot was a dick slap, dude. He was like, he's wearing like a strap on, and his rim shot was a dick slap. It was amazing.
Yeah, he's playing the kind of like Viking court jester. Yeah, dude.
He's also a shaman, it turns out.
When he comes back as the zombie head, how awesome is that?
I was like, wow, what a weird and oddly subdued role for Willem Dafoe. And then he comes back as a fucking zombie head. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Reminded me of
there it is.
That's also that. I guess that's also just kind of like a Norse mythology kind of like theme, because that's also present in the first God of War game. Yeah, one of your side characters is Kratos carrying around the fucking talking head. I don't remember if it's the same character.
It's not.
Because this is tied in. The Northman is tied in with like a lot of what is believed to be, like there's a lot of these old Viking stories where the lines between actual like historical fact and myth kind of blend,
right?
Because it's just hard to track history in these types of time periods and in these these settings, because they just weren't the type of people to keep as much kind of like historical record, compared to something like medieval Europe. It's a lot easier to track history in medieval Europe versus, like 980 fucking, what were they, like Iceland most of the time? Yeah.
Yeah, Iceland. But Willem Dafoe plays Hamir the Fool, and the god in God of War that he takes the head and the head talks is Mimir.
Okay.
So Hamir and Mimir, that's not confusing at all.
Not at all, yeah. So that's most of your main characters here. Bill Skarsgård was also supposed to, who is the brother of Alexander Skarsgård. People know Bill as Pennywise primarily. He was also supposed to appear in this movie, but ended up having to drop out of the movie, I believe, due to a scheduling conflict with another project he was working on. And his role ended up going to, I believe he was going to play the prince of the uncle who gets stabbed through the bed.
Oh, okay.
I believe he was going to play that character, but the asshole prince that Amleth kills towards the end. Yeah. Also, interesting too. I don't know if you got this. One thing this movie actually made me think of in its story structure and the kind of like plot points of it is the Thomas Jane Punisher movie. Because you remember how the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, his main goal is to go after John Travolta, but he goes about it by systematically destroying his entire fucking family. That actually kind of reminded me of that. I don't know if you remember that, about how he's always like killing the sons.
That's probably not a coincidence, because the interview that I listened to with Eggers, he was talking about how he got interested in the story of Amleth because he found out that Hamlet is based on Amleth.
Mm-hmm.
So, as he always thought Hamlet was just Hamlet, and he was fucking embarrassed about that because he has directed Hamlet, and he has been Hamlet. He's been in Hamlet before, and his dad, he said, is a like a Shakespearean, not historian, but Shakespearean. Like he studies a scholar, is a Shakespearean scholar, and he never knew that Hamlet was based on the Viking tale of Amleth.
Yeah, the name is even a anagram.
Yes,
of it.
It's
Hamlet. Yeah.
So he never knew that. And that's when he got interested in Viking stuff, because he said he's never been interested in anything Viking related before. And he wanted to tell that story. That's where this came from. But that's Hamlet is like one of the most emulated story structures. I mean, The Lion King is Hamlet.
There's so much shit that is just directly influenced by Hamlet. But what's interesting is, my film history is I think of the Punisher movie with Thomas Jane and not Hamlet,
right? So there's a good chance where I was going with that is that Thomas Jane Punisher movie is probably also very loosely based on the idea of Hamlet, I would guess.
Yeah,
I've never thought about that though before. You're right,
but it's just one of those things where I like that story structure. It always makes it interesting. We were talking about in the green room, John Wick.
Yes.
There's also elements of that where it's like the movie is about this person going from point A to point B to take out a certain guy. But if along the way they just systematically take out the entire fucking family and like infrastructure, always love seeing shit like that. It just makes it for an interesting movie, like where you're just seeing them just kind of like just so systematically taking out like this person, then this person, you know what I mean? Like kind of like working, and it's interesting too. It ties and it's centralized around and originates from Viking culture, which is all about, like the family tree and you know like the world tree. And there's a lot of imagery, dude. The fucking world tree in this, where you see like the corpses hanging from the tree of like the previous lines of kings, that was some FromSoft shit that was like where they were showing the previous kings as they descend, or like they ascend up the tree towards the current time period. Like that imagery was very FromSoft to me. There's like so much shit felt like a fucking Bloodborne level in this, and I loved those elements about it.
And that imagery comes from Odin, because that is how Odin gained his wisdom. He cut out his own eye and traded it for wisdom, and he had to hang himself from the tree to death. And then after like 3 days, I think, he comes back to life and cuts himself down. Mm-hmm. And that's how he gets his wisdom.
I also really like the how the elements in this that directly confirm whether this is supernatural or not are always kind of ambiguous.
Yes,
because like the Dark Souls mini boss I was talking about, where he fights the 12-foot tall fucking soldier dude that has the special sword.
Yes,
like you don't know if that happened. You don't know if that was just like the main character kind of, because the main character is also like a little bit unhinged in this, in that part of it is just he had a fucking background as a berserker taking God knows what drugs for like 20 years straight.
Hallucinogenics and what else?
You have no idea like what his mental stability is on like a good day because of all that.
But at the same time, some of it is true, I believe. And this is one of those things, like we talked about with the Lighthouse, like everything is open to interpretation.
Yeah, everything.
But there's a moment where he's strung up in the barn that someone else tries to unsheathe the sword during the day and it will not unsheath.
Yeah, that's cool. I also, just the entire like myth behind his sword is really cool.
Dude, I was going to ask if that is based on something, or
it probably is, but just like that concept, like also like how fucking metal was it when they have the little interstitial title card things, and the one was the Nightblade feeds.
Yeah,
I was like, fuck yes, it does. Feed the Nightblade, bro.
Feed the Nightblade.
This is one of the most metal films I think of all time.
Because the reason I ask is I know that is a cliche story. I mean, one of the Inuyasha movies is even about a sword like that. But the thing that Eggers had said was that he was trying to make the most like historically accurate Viking movie while also showing like a lot of religion and cultural things that they believed in. And everything that you see in this movie is based on something from Norse culture. So I was wondering if there's like a legend about the Nightblade or something that he pulled that from.
Probably, almost assuredly. Here's a question. You had talked about wanting to listen to the official tie-in podcast that I believe had Eggers on it. Did you get a chance to listen to that? To get any tidbits?
Yeah, that's what I'm pulling from.
That's what you're pulling from. Okay.
Yeah.
So what were some other just kind of like interesting tidbits while we're talking about it that you had learned from the podcast with it? Because I have not listened to it, but that's something I'm interested in just because I find Eggers a fascinating film maker.
It's not very good.
Really?
It's not very good.
How so? I'm curious now.
The person that they had interviewing all these people is awful at their job.
Oh, that sucks.
It's a lot of, so how did you connect with the character Amleth? And Alexander Skarsgård is like, he's a murdering, pillaging asshole. Like, how do you connect with, everyone's just kind of like, what is this question?
That sucks.
Yeah, it's a lot of that kind of bullshit, but peppered
just
in there.
Just the most bare bones film analysis 101 shit.
It's awful. But anything from Skarsgård and Eggers is pretty gold. The entire interview with Anya Taylor-Joy is just like, how cold did you get while you were in Iceland?
Oh yeah, brilliant observations there, buddy.
Yeah, it's bad. I do not recommend it. But Eggers, in every interview I've heard him in, talks a lot about his process and the amount of research and how he tries to be as historically accurate as possible. The one thing, by the way, that Anya Taylor-Joy said that was actually kind of funny is she was talking about, like, she was asking Anya about the accents and the language and stuff, because she has to do a lot of, I believe she was Slavic.
Yes, and here she's playing a Slavic character.
Yeah, so she's having to utter those spells like in that language and stuff, and she's asking about that and like the accuracy of their accents and stuff. And she was like, "Oh, if our accents were accurate, you would not be able to understand what we're saying." Like, she's like, if you've ever heard like the Icelandic accent and the a lot of the Norse accents, she's like, you would not know what we're saying. We couldn't be that accurate with the accents.
Yeah, I actually I read too on the Wikipedia page. Granted, you know, I don't know how accurate it is, but I had read that they actually redid most of the dialogue in ADR because in test screenings people were having a hard time understanding them.
Oh wow!
So they actually, and it makes sense because when I sat down to watch this movie as someone who had seen The Witch and how, you know, time period accurate they were to their accents and their weird diction that they had back then, I expected this to also be kind of hard to follow. I am glad they actually made it a little bit more accessible because it doesn't really make any sense to like negatively affect the movie's presentation as far as like getting the characters like dialogue across to the point where you can't understand what they're saying. Like, this is a huge issue actually with the last several Christopher Nolan films. He has just kind of just maybe part of it is The Dark Knight Rises, because The Dark Knight Rises kind of like started his whole like fucking fascination with the way that the dialogue is presented, partially with Bane, just partially with like how Christopher Nolan's gone the way of
and now
James
we're back
Cameron.
to South Park.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan has gone the way of James Cameron, who is trying to find the bar and just got lost up his own asshole. Unfortunately,
James Cameron does not do what James Cameron does for James Cameron. James Cameron does what James Cameron does because James Cameron.
There are several scenes in Tenet you have no idea what the people are saying.
Really?
Just straight up. There are people wearing masks in Tenet because of the mumbo jumbo fucking science that he has created for that fucking movie. And he doesn't do anything to make the dialogue more comprehensible. You just can't understand what they're saying, flat out. And he's just like, basically his whole idea behind it is to give the movie like verisimilitude of, you wouldn't be able to understand these people if you were there, so I'm not gonna let you understand. Motherfucker, I'm watching a movie.
Yeah,
I want to understand the people in the fucking movie.
So
okay, fuck yourself.
We've had method actors. Now we have method directors. Is that what's happening?
He's. You should actually probably watch Tenet just to see like what I'm talking about. Tenet fucking sucks, dude. Tenet is a fucking no. I actually forgot. You want to know how much Christopher Nolan has lost up his own asshole, dude? You want to know?
Oh no.
I can tell you one sentence. You want to know what the main character's name is in the Tenet movie?
Tenet?
The protagonist. Shit you not.
Are you serious?
He's called the protagonist, and that is his name. You look up the IMDb page, he is the protagonist.
Wow.
Shit you not. Go fuck yourself, Nolan.
What a fall from grace. He was like Hollywood's golden boy.
I know. Like, how do you end up like fucking making The Dark Knight and Batman Begins and like Memento and all these like good movies and shit, and then have that happen?
Inception, even like
Inception, yeah. Like, dude, but yeah, fuck Tenet, dude. Now, that being said, I'm actually kind of excited to watch the Oppenheimer movie just because I like Cillian Murphy a lot.
Oh yeah.
And
Guilty.
he's and he is one of Nolan's bros. So I'm actually excited to watch that for his performance. But yeah, I'm kind of done with Nolan as a director.
See, everyone I listen to on podcasts, I'm usually very dubious about their opinions on movies. I've never heard anyone say anything good about Tenet, and I was just kind of like, I don't know. All of y'all hate movies that I love, and then you came to me and you're like, no, Tenet's bad. I'm like, oh well, shit, I'm not seeing it. I'm not bothering.
You need to watch it, dude.
It's so bad you need to watch it.
It's so weird. It's like how this is turned into a Tenet review. But it's not atrocious, but it becomes one of those things, and it reminds me so much of James Cameron in that it comes across when you're watching the movie that the director thinks this is genius,
right?
Constantly, like when you're watching Avatar, and the entire time with like the presentation of the movie and just like the entire kind of like tone of it, the director is just like, man, I'm a fucking genius.
Yeah.
That is present in every line.
That has been James Cameron since Titanic.
Exactly. Yeah. It is present in every line, and it is suffocating when you're watching that movie. And it makes me sad because Batman Begins and Inception and The Dark Knight, like, he was on such a roll of making really good movies. Insomnia is also. Did you ever watch Insomnia?
I don't know that one.
Insomnia was a crime thriller starring Al Pacino and Robin Williams. It's actually really interesting.
Interesting.
It's like one of his first movies. It's really good. He made really good movies, and then he got so far lost of his own asshole, just like James Cameron. They no longer make good films, and it makes me sad because we're missing out on a lot of good material just because people lose their way, and that's really sad.
Well, last thing I want to say before we move on is, speaking of James Cameron, I watched Terminator 2 recently. Oh God, I miss like 90s James Cameron. I miss 80s and 80s and 90s James Cameron.
You sit down and watch Aliens,
yeah,
and you're just like, the same dude that made this like just fucking perfect movie made Avatar.
The Way of Wooter.
The Way of Wooter.
That's not even my joke, by the way, but I don't know what the reference is, but there's another podcast I listen to that always refers to it as The Way of Wooter. I don't know if someone says it that way in the trailer. I don't know what that is, but they say it like every 5 seconds in that podcast. So now I can't unhear it.
I also have bad news. I think the next time we do a Friends and Family Month, somebody might be picking one of the Avatar movies. And whoever does pick that, I will not be speaking with. No, I don't think so. Maybe.
You're like, I have it on good authority that someone will be picking. Oh God, yeah.
But I feel like somebody is gonna do that. Maybe we need to keep Soapy from being able to choose movies for us ever again.
I would have to watch that with my dad so he can explain to me why he fucking loves that movie so much.
See, but then you'll just have you'll have to go on a revenge spree against James Cameron, fucking the Northman style, because his favorite movie is Avatar.
Just see me like naked around a campfire wearing a wolf skin.
Just outside James Cameron's mansion. This is you doing the fucking wolf berserker scream. Fucking naked with the wolf pelt on your head.
Tonight the night blade feeds.
Oh Jesus!
James Cameron, I'm here to lower the bar.
You do the John Wick 3 book kill, but with a DVD of Avatar.
Oh my God!
Oh shit! That's what we're talking about. Better movie than Tenet.
Yep.
Better movie than Avatar.
Better movie than Avatar for sure. Stephen Lang is the only saving grace in that first movie.
Yeah, man. What a fucking just sad state to be in, to no longer be excited for movies from directors that made some of our favorite movies of all time. Yeah, we're some of the greatest of all time. It just really sucks. Yeah, that's another thing. You know what? We don't we don't often.
Now who's dancing around the fire wearing a wolf skin?
Here's the thing. When we were talking about Indiana Jones,
yeah,
we chat talk Spielberg a little bit, for some of the choices made in a couple of those movies. But you know what? Spielberg will come out and make a bad movie and will bounce back.
Yeah,
you got to give him that. He'll eventually. Part of it is just, like fucking batting average. Like he's made like how many movies? Like 70 fucking movies.
God, I don't know.
Some of them are going to be bad. Some of them are going to be mediocre. But he always bounces back. There isn't that like clear line of delineation where he used to be great and now everything is just shit because they got so lost in their own ego and their own like self-identity as a legend that they no longer made good art. Like George Lucas,
like,
for example.
I don't know much about Spielberg, but there's no way that you are Spielberg without having an ego, but he seems to learn a lesson and bounce back from that, even if it's temporarily.
He also seems to just be a more genuine
He's
person.
probably the most consistent director, I would say. At least of the legendary ones.
I think Ridley Scott probably is. But Ridley Scott has also had, some movies that are not so great. But
he's good at speeches.
Yeah, he is.
Especially when they're trying to play him off the stage. I fucking love that man.
But yeah, and that's actually one of the things that's like really drawing me to
Robert Eggers.
To Robert Eggers is Robert Eggers.
See, folks, we brought it home. It wasn't aimless rambling.
After a 15-minute rant, we brought it back.
Yeah, we were making a point this whole time. This was planned. This was scripted.
So I actually think it is pretty cool to see Robert Eggers come out and make The Northman, which is a more straightforward movie. You could easily see after The Witch and after The Lighthouse, him kind of like spiraling into making just more purely weird art film territory that the no one really sees value in outside of like the craziest of like cult followings and the director himself, where they just kind of like get lost in their own like film identity, I guess, if that's like a term I can use, like where they get so lost in like a cut, they were like fucking raising the bar that they no longer care about making a good movie. It has to be like that. That's like the Nolan thing. Like I have to make something that is going to like break the mold.
I'm an artiste.
Yeah. It doesn't always have to be the case. Sometimes you can just go out and make a good movie. Like with this, he made a good movie with like, some of his friends. This was a topic they were all like, he's friends with Skarsgård, he's friends with Schoen, and they went out, they wanted to make a fucking Viking movie, and they did it.
Yeah.
They just went out and fucking did it. They made a movie with their friends,
And Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Which is still weird. I mean, she was great. Don't get me wrong. I just not a casting choice I saw coming.
Yeah. That fucking scene.
Oh my God.
It's so creepy. And
you want to talk about that?
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Why don't you set the stage for us, Ron? I'll let you fall on that night.
Yeah. So the beginning of the movie.
Get your Purell ready, folks.
Right. The beginning of the movie, it's set up to look like, she's being taken. Her husband is just killed. Supposedly her son was killed. He's around the corner watching. And it seems like she's being taken against her will. And then years later, as an adult, when he finds his uncle, he finds his mom, he's thinking he's saving his mom. No, it turns out uncle killed dad because mom said so. And and she, what was her line? Like, you were thrust upon me. Like,
yeah,
he was going to be murdered on her command as well.
Yeah, because they're Vikings,
right?
When they would take over a village after killing all the dudes, they would enslave and rape the women, basically.
Right.
And he is a product of that, and it is like a shocking revelation, but man, her performance when she's like delivering those lines is just it gets gross,
dude. When she gets up on him and starts kissing him,
when she starts telling him like, go ahead and go kill your uncle, and then like I'll be your queen as you take over command. It's so gross, dude. It's like, oh man,
what the fuck, man?
Sends fucking shivers down your spine, dude. I'm trying to find some of the quotes while you talk about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, just her line delivery, her performance in general in that scene. I've never seen Nicole Kidman like that ever.
Yeah.
It was almost Betty White and Lake Placid shocking. Like,
yeah.
And
it's
we have
crazy.
romanticized the idea of Vikings so much. Everything that you know about Vikings is fictitious, pretty much. And this movie is trying to be as accurate as possible, and it doesn't shy away from those facts, like you said. And like, she pulls back part of her dress to show her brand, where she was a slave, and like, yeah, all of this was done on her command. His uncle was acting because she said to.
Oh, here's another line she has in that scene. How easily we all become princesses again when the beasts take us for their wives.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's just these lines she says. You just like feel them in your soul, dude.
Yeah. And she's talking to her son, who she tried to have murdered.
Yeah, it's fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
This is one of the lines too that she tells him. You were forced upon your mother, but Gunnar was received freely with love.
Ooh.
Ugh.
Oh.
Gross, dude.
Yeah. It was painful and mortifying to watch.
Oh, also, Skarsgård deserves recognition for that scene too. His reaction to all of this, just the absolute look of like shock and disgust and
horror.
He just at the revelation of just like his just absolute inability to even comprehend like what she's saying because it's so shocking to him. He's amazing in that scene. There's also some scenes like when he is doing like the berserker stuff. He's amazing when he goes like full fucking feral. He's amazing. He is terrifying. Like that scene you're talking about where they have that like really awesome continuous shot of them attacking that village. Oh, bro, by the way, when he fucking catches that spear,
at the beginning,
and just fucking launches it back, and you're just like, he just fucking do that? That's crazy.
Yeah, at the beginning of that raid, he just reaches out and plucks it out of the air. It's so fucking good.
It's so awesome, dude. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to talk about, we mentioned earlier, is those tracking shots. Have you ever seen anything like that? We've seen movies do continuous shots. We've seen a movie that emulated doing the entire movie as a continuous shot, but I believe the email that Eggers sent to the director of photography, he quoted from it word for word. He said that Eggers had said he wanted long tracking shots with a lot of shit happening in the background. And just the idea of setting up some of those tracking shots with how dynamic they are with all the shit happening. Some of them are at night, some of them are during the day.
I know.
But like nuts. That raid when he climbs the wall and goes over, and it's just side scrolling. It's just following him, and in the background you see this entire raid happen as he's just walking around axing people in the face.
And what's fucking crazy too is like the scenes like present the chaos of it, but you're not like lost on what you're supposed to look at.
You're not losing any focus. You're seeing everything they want you to see.
You're seeing exactly what they want you to see. It is insanely well done.
Feels very real and very authentic. And
like that's probably like the best shot of the movie is that side-scrolling shot in the little like village that they're attacking, because there's so much depth to it. You're able to constantly see what's happening in like 3 levels of the scene.
Yeah,
because there's Amleth who's like in the foreground. And then there's like 3, like at all times, like 2 or 3 other attacks happening in the back, but you catch all of it. You never feel lost. And it is just like, it's up there with like 1917 with like some of the best like scene progression you'll ever see.
Anytime he sidestepped an arrow, by the way, the sound design as that arrow whizzes by.
Yeah. So just real quick, the cinematography is done by Jaron Blaschke. The film editing is done by Louise Ford.
Oh, the editing in this movie is perfect.
It's flawless.
It's a little over 2 hours. It does not overstay its welcome, and never did I feel like the movie was too long. The editing is done really well.
Yeah, the editing is really great too. And what I also really like is they get to certain points in the plot faster than you think they would.
Yes.
Because like when I first started this up and I realized like what the plot was going to be about, him trying to get revenge and kill his uncle, I didn't expect him to actually come into contact with his uncle until the last like third act, like the very last maybe 30 minutes.
Right.
He finds his uncle at like the 45-minute mark, and you're just like, where do they go from here? Because there's a lot of movie left, and I like that. I like, because it kind of like presents this story where you kind of know where it's going, but if the pacing is interesting, or the like series of events that gets you from like, you know, like the series of events in between can make or break the movie if you're always kind of like on your toes and you're just like, wow, there's an hour and 15 minutes left. What's the movie gonna look like from here?
Right.
And then he just goes on these like fucking Dark Souls side quests. I'm just like, fuck yes, he does. Yes, he's fighting this 12-foot tall Dark Souls mini boss.
The other thing that I was going to point out is there's one tracking shot where it's the flip side. It follows a guard at night when Amleth goes back to kill his uncle, or goes back to like try to fight his uncle, and it just follows the night watchman through the village, and he just keeps barely missing Amleth. You just see the aftermath of what Amleth has done.
It's like a Batman scene.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was amazing. That's what I was gonna say. It was exactly like what you would imagine being like in the mafia in Gotham City would be like when Batman shows up, because he just, every time he turns around, someone else is down just all around him.
We also have to give like huge props to part of it's probably like the cinematographer, which I also talked about, but like everyone that went into the lighting of the scenes. This movie has so many shots at night, yet you're never really like lost in them.
Yeah.
The fight at the end inside the volcano, which is metal as fuck.
Oh, dude.
But like
the
all
use of lighting in that.
The lighting in that. It feels so. It's like a cliche word to use, but it like legitimately feels epic to watch when they're fighting in that fucking volcano. And like the way that the like steam from the lava is like filling like a lot of the shots up too. Like that could have like, you know, like been difficult to kind of like lose track of like which character's which and what's happening, but it always just feels like,
and
you're never
lends
missing anything.
Like an iridescent feel to it, right? Because the steam all around them is also kind of glowing orange from all the lava. It's like reflecting that light and carrying it through the whole scene. It's so cool.
It looks so like it looks like you're watching like gods fight.
Yeah,
and like it's intentional. But it's so cool, and it's just like so gorgeous to look at, and like I love the interstitials too, where it's like the gates of hell.
Yes,
and it's just like fuck yes, dude. It's so good.
Yeah.
Also, this movie has some of the most like gorgeous landscape shots of just like showing the stars.
Probably since the Shire in the first Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. It's fucking incredible, dude. Like some of the scenes.
Iceland, man. That like this whole thing was filmed in Iceland. It takes place in Iceland, and Iceland, like, it's a beautiful place. It's extremely deadly, but it's a beautiful place.
Like the lighting in the scene when they were in the storm on the boat.
Oh
is really really well done. All the there's like so many scenes. If you just scroll through like the IMDb photos, there's so many just establishing shots of like them on the water, and like there's a really really cool shot where there's a couple of hills that are split, and the main character's like standing in between the hills, and at the very top of the frame is the moon.
Yes,
and it's just like some of these like shots where it's just like nothing's happening, but it's just like such a gorgeous shot. It's like breathtaking to look at. And that adds like so much to the movie, because like one thing that gets lost in a lot of movies, and a lot of movies that people, you know, can potentially find like too slow paced to really get into, it's where it's like nothing's really happening, but and there's also like no artistry happening. If you just have like a little bit of artistry happening, like these gorgeous tracking shots, or just like if there's something interesting and something artistic about like every scene, even if it's not like heavy with plot, it can be interesting to watch, even if not much is actually happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's amazing how if you give me something to look at, I'm invested, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's just like...
What a novel concept. Give your audience something to look at and or something to watch.
Right. It's fucking bonkers, man.
Yeah. Now, one thing that goes back to something you said at the beginning also that Eggers had said in that interview was the simplicity of the plot, just being a revenge story on his uncle, period. That is the reason why he was able to go so deep with the mythology, so deep with like being period accurate with the Vikings, and why he could introduce and show you Vikings as they were, their culture, how they lived, because the plot was he killed my father, I'm going to kill him. And there's not a lot of exposition.
But yeah, it's like literally like, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die.
Yeah,
that's like the fucking entire plot wrapped up in 2 sentences from The Princess Bride.
So his goal was to just make the most accurate Viking film that he could. And Bjork is I believe Icelandic singer or Swedish singer. She plays the Cirrus in the one.
Yeah, really creepy scene.
Yeah,
great performance by her. She is fucking creepy as hell in that scene.
That is her first on-camera appearance in 10 years.
That's wild. She's great.
And I think she said her second time on camera or something.
Also, the costuming.
Oh my god,
is like her costume is amazing. The priest guy that has Willem Dafoe's head.
Yes,
his costume is creepy as fuck. Just
Willem Dafoe's costuming was a fucking strap-on and then later a loincloth. I've seen more of Willem Dafoe than I've ever wanted to see of Willem Dafoe. But everyone else's costuming was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bjork was talking about how...
I was just like how the exact second you said everyone else's costume was really good, I was scrolling through the IMDb page and just found a shot of someone's ass. There's a lot of Viking ass in this movie. If your thing is Viking ass, this is the movie for you.
Right. But yeah, Bjork was saying in that same interview about how in recent years in Iceland, like archaeology about the Vikings has had so many breakthroughs that we now at this point know more about the Vikings than we ever have. Because they didn't really have like a written culture. Their things were made of wood. Their shit decayed. It went away, and it was all storytellers and stuff. No one wrote down their history. So the Vikings we knew very little about. But there's been like apparently a bunch of breakthroughs in recent years, and that's where a lot of the research in this movie came out of.
Gotcha.
A lot of that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No, it's a good movie. It's probably not what you're going to expect. It's not what you're going to expect. We're still knocking off the rust. It's not what you're going to expect from Eggers, probably.
It is much more straightforward. Even though it has moments of being really obtuse, it is much more straightforward than I initially expected it to be.
Well, the first 20, 30 minutes of this movie, it's just like, is the whole movie gonna be like this? Like it's like this is cool, but is the whole movie gonna be like this? And after that, it kind of calms down a little bit. But yeah. No,
you talking about the fact that he always has to have someone farting in one of his scenes, and you're just like,
I was not surprised when that happened. I was like, oh man, and Willem Dafoe was in that scene.
Of course he is. It was probably his idea, bro. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You just gotta expect someone. This was someone's first Eggers film out there, and they're just like, "What?"
Is there a fart joke in The Witch?
I don't think so. The witch is too busy just being disturbing as fuck to have a fart joke, I think.
The fart joke is making a comeback, man. That's 2 Eggers movies and
Game of Thrones.
Murder on the Orient Express.
I don't remember the joke of that. We were planning on watching that again because we wanted to finally get around to watching the sequel movie, guys. We haven't watched that yet, but yeah, I'll have to look out for that. I forgot that had a.
You don't have to look out for it. He's the only character on the screen when it happens.
Oh, good. Let's get you Oli. Yeah,
it's pretty good. I haven't seen Death on the Nile yet either. I was keeping track of that movie. I could not wait for it to come out. It came out and I fucking forgot about it. So it's on HBO Max.
It's just that's what pisses me off too. Is like this movie too. I was wanting to watch The Northman from one of my favorite directors at the moment for months, and just always kept finding excuses like I don't want to pay $20 to rent this. I don't want to pay $6 to rent this, and then it hit fucking Prime for like 5 months before I watched it. It was like, what am I doing, dude? It's fucking 2 hours.
I'm just a shell of myself.
Dude, it's like it's on the fucking streaming service you already own. What are you doing? Just fucking watch it.
Just watch it.
Yeah. Like, and I earlier I probably sounded like a little bit. Now, obviously, we've been like, like really hyping up certain aspects of this movie as a whole. This is my least favorite movie of his. That being said, his worst movie. This is probably like an 8 out of 10. It's just like it's not a masterpiece like The Lighthouse.
Right.
So it's like you talked about how like you didn't like Glass Onion as much as Knives Out. Knives Out is like a 9.85 out of 10.
I was gonna say, but like
it's
Knives Out, like
yeah. When the thing you're comparing it to is an instant classic, you have to like take a step back and realize like it was never going to be that. So I had unrealistic expectations for this. So like this is my least favorite of his. It's still like an 8 out of 10. And I loved a lot of it. It's just as a whole, it's not one of those like The Lighthouse is genius. The Witch is creepy as fuck. And I love my fucking creepy atmospheric horror movies. I'm always on board for that, especially with like great performances, just great acting, and like just across the board. And man, yeah. Northman though, really good. I genuinely liked it. It'll probably not be one.
Good movie is good.
It will probably not be one I rewatch.
Same.
Because there might be a point, later on down the road where I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to sit down and watch like all of the Eggers library. I don't know if you've ever done that, where you just kind of sit down to like watch through someone's like back catalog for whatever reason. It would be one I would watch if I was doing something like that specifically. But like, I'll watch The Lighthouse probably like once every year or like every 2 years forever, just because I fucking love that movie. And The Witch is a good one to sit down if you just want to be like creeped out on Halloween. It's one that
you wonder what the level of detail in this movie reminded me of.
What's that?
Ari Aster's level of detail in Hereditary.
It's interesting. There's a lot of parallels between them as directors and writers. It is one of the reasons they're two of my favorites.
It's almost obsessive detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know more about that goddamn King of Hell than I ever thought I wanted to know. And I learned it all in Hereditary.
Paimon?
Yeah, Paimon.
Hail, Paimon.
Yeah, and then I feel like I just took a class on Viking culture. Like, I feel like I just audited a class for a few days.
There's a lot of like, did you ever watch the Vikings TV show?
No, I heard it was good though.
Yeah, it was good.
Just the idea of a fiction show on History Channel, I didn't know how I felt about that.
Yeah, it was good. It became a little bit long in the tooth because I think it lasted too many seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I never actually finished all of it. I watched like 80% of the way through and kind of like lost track of it. But it's a similar thing like this to where like you were talking about how it's presenting like as historically accurate information as they possibly could about like their culture while also making it entertaining. Kind of like striking that fine line.
Yeah,
it's similar to it. This is better, but there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that same tone of where you feel like you're learning a lot, but it's not boring. It's not like oppressively educational. It is entertaining while also being historically accurate, and that is always something I can appreciate because
right.
I am interested in history. I like learning about stuff. I think the Vikings are fascinating. One thing we hadn't talked about. It's not really like super present in here, but one thing I find interesting about Viking culture in general is like they were actually like willing to let like women be soldiers. Like the shield maidens were like a thing. Like the Valkyries are like a huge part of their religion. You know, like these badass ladies. It's pretty cool. That is something that never happened back then. But like shield maidens were just as respected as much as the dudes, and that's like a fascinating part of history that like not a lot of people talk about, but always like that about them. I just think it's cool. One of the best characters in the Vikings TV show is a shield maiden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is something I don't know about Greek culture especially, but at least I know in Spartan culture. I don't know if they were in the military, but like every single Spartan is a citizen soldier. There are no non-soldiers. You just might not be in the military, and that includes the women. So like, there's that great line that Gerard Butler has when is it Xerxes is threatening him, and he's gonna kill the men. He's like, and then your women and children, and he's like, our women? I might as well just march them up here based on what I've seen. Like,
yeah,
like he's not gonna stand a chance against the women either.
Have you watched 300 again?
I haven't watched it recently. I thought about going through it again because I still want to watch Rise of an Empire or whatever. I've never seen it.
Oh, did you not? You never saw it?
I
remember it being
to.
okay. Yeah, I remember watching it. I remember it being okay. I've been curious about 300 though, because like with 300, it's just such like a weird spot in time and such a like a specific project. Like I wonder how it would hold up in my brain to this day. But I've been curious about revisiting it.
There was a thing that Channel 6, our local news station here, did, talking to people and like history teachers and stuff, when history teachers were taking their students from high school to like go see 300 with them. Because while there is a lot of stuff in it just for entertainment value, and like the costuming is ridiculous because like they're not wearing armor, it's just underwears and capes. It is very actually historically accurate to their culture, and it is very historically accurate to the way that battle actually played out. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like the Battle of Thermopylae or something.
Yeah, I think you got it. Yeah.
It, Greece. They put extra letters and words. But I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but I think it's like the Battle of Thermopylae or something like that. They
it's either Thermopylae or Thermopylae, one of those two.
The only thing that's really different as far as the accuracy of that movie, as far as the way the battle played out, is there were also like 3,000 Athenians there, and you see them at the beginning of the movie. They also helped. They don't help in the movie. It just focuses on the 300.
Yeah.
But they fought shoulder to shoulder with the 3,000 Athenians. But Sparta was known for the phalanx. And you see them using the phalanx in the gates to just bottleneck Xerxes' people. And like I don't think they had steel, but they had like iron.
Yeah.
And Xerxes' people, this is hard to imagine, but there was a time when this was common, and if you need to mass produce shit, this was the easiest, cheapest way to do it. Xerxes' people, they were conscripted slaves for the most part, right? And their armor and their shields were woven. They were fabric.
Interesting.
So when you see in the movie their shields getting cut in half along with their bodies, and you see spears just puncturing their shields like their shield's not there. What
was even the fucking point? Well, it was like, yeah, because like if it's gonna be that shitty, why wouldn't you like just have more maneuverability?
Well, first off, he had the numbers, and if he had gotten through the gates, which he eventually does get through the gates, but if he had gotten through those gates, like they wouldn't have stood a chance just because of the numbers. But like when you need to finance an army that large, metal is expensive. It takes a long time to work.
And they would view that as more worthy than and like more valuable than the lives of the people that they're sending in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I believe, I could be wrong about this, but I read up on this right after the movie came out because I was interested in it, and that was years and years ago. But I want to say what Xerxes had was pretty much top of the line technology at the time. And then in Greece, they were using like all copper or bronze. Were they bronze? Is that the Bronze Age? They were using metal, and like the rest of the world hadn't caught up to that yet. So they literally were just cleaving their shields in half like their shields weren't there.
Yeah. Yeah, after I see like the 20 dudes ahead of me using our like fucking
top of the line woven shield.
Yeah, our shields made out of like fucking yarn, out of fucking cat toys.
My grandma knitted the shield for me.
Yeah, when I'm trying to defend myself against Leonidas with Sackboy, maybe I just throw Sackboy down and just like fucking get more maneuverability, so at least I can maybe dodge.
I took up needlepoint so I could repair my crocheted shield. Yeah, it's interesting. it's very interesting. Like he still had the numbers, he still overwhelmed them, he still invaded, but
it just took a while because we're sitting people in the yard.
It was like Xerxes was trying to rule the world, and that was like the biggest amount of losses he sustained. Like if he had, it was one of those situations where like if he had conquered Greece, there probably wouldn't have been anyone to stop him. But he just could not conquer Greece.
Yeah,
and he put everything into conquering Greece, and he just couldn't. But,
Isn't history just like fucking awesome? Just to look back at like these things that sound like fictional stories, and it's like, no, these were actual dudes,
like,
and they were
the
fucking
insanity,
nuts.
The insanity of believing that you're a god and you should rule the world, and the fact that pretty much if you had made a few different decisions, you could actually have done it. Like,
or like one of the other. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they say one of the entire reasons Hitler lost is he was obsessed with taking Russia, and he split his troops. And if he had just gotten the fuck over Russia, we would probably be speaking German right now.
Yep.
And Napoleon Bonaparte did the same thing.
Or like it's like believed to be historical record too, that Genghis Khan could have just straight up taken over everything, but he just decided to stop because they had to like go back and do an exchange of like some ceremony thing, and they like ended his push across like Mongolia and shit because they had to go back to do some ceremony in the homeland. And it's just like, that's crazy,
dude.
Like, so,
bruh, you're about to rule the world.
Yeah,
Alexander the Great, like the Roman Empire just crumbling overnight.
Yeah, it's just it's like history is just like fucking fascinating, dude.
When your empire crumbles so hard, everybody stops speaking the language. Like when the Roman Empire falls apart and no one speaks Latin anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Did you have any other thoughts on the Northman before we kind of wrap up the episode?
No, like I said, I didn't know what to expect going into it. I hadn't watched any of the trailers or anything. I just knew it was Robert Eggers, so there's a good chance that it being Vikings, it was going to have some badass action. It was probably going to have some weird supernatural shit going on. And I got both of those things on my bingo card.
Willem Dafoe acting like the fucking Joker. Yes, thank you.
I just wish it had been him that farted. I just wish Robert Eggers could be a little more consistent.
Could have been a 9 out of 10.
Could have been a 9 out of 10.
Because of that missed opportunity, now we're dropping it down to an 8.
I'm telling you. I want Willem Dafoe to fart in every movie he's in from now on, by the way.
Right? Can we edit the Spider-Man movies with that?
Next time he shows up in Spider-Man's what I was thinking. Like he jumps up onto the glider and just lets out a big one as soon as he lands on the glider.
Like fuck the Snyder cut. Can I have a Defoe cut of every Defoe cut?
Can we just use machine learning to put Defoe in every movie?
Fuck yes, we can.
You know what we need to cover? What we need to cover is it Boondock Saints?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, you want to talk about some Willem Dafoe?
Fight. I love Willem Dafoe, that movie.
Oh my god, dude!
I just have one of my favorite scenes in cinematic history is the fact that one guy believes Willem Dafoe is a chick. Have you seen Willem Dafoe? The dude looks more like the Green Goblin without the mask on.
You know what's even funnier about that? They literally cast his face for that mask.
Oh, dude.
They literally made that mask off of his face, and he still looks more like the Green Goblin than the mask does.
Yeah. God, dude, I love that man. I fucking love Willem Dafoe so much. What a goddamn legend.
It sounds like we're making fun of him, but
absolutely not. I fucking adore Willem Dafoe.
One of the greatest actors of our time who also loves to chew up the scenery sometimes.
God, I love that. And yeah, you chew away, bro. And I love that, man.
Again, though, when he doesn't really cross the line. Like
no. He stays always on the line of like good crazy Nicolas Cage. He's always good crazy levels of Nicolas Cage. Always.
Like, dude, that scene when he is just dancing through the crime scene.
Fuck yeah, with the like fucking classical music playing.
Yes. It's so good. And then
I quote there was a firefight like all of the time because I just love that scene so much.
And then you go from that to what is the hold on. I'm scrolling. I wish I remembered what. Oh my god, Willem Dafoe, calm your tits, brah. How many movies have you been in the last 3 years?
Which one are you thinking of? I could probably help you out.
He's got to hunt the last leopard of its kind or something.
The Last Leopard? I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's oh god, I forgot he's in Daybreakers. Speaking of what's his fuck?
Ethan Hawke. That's a good fucking movie.
That's
I like
a good movie. I think I've passed it if I'm at Daybreakers. He was in Cirque du Freak. I've never seen that. The Hunter.
Yes. The Hunter. I have not seen The Hunter.
Very serious, dramatic role. No comedy in it. Very heavy. Willem Dafoe.
There's gonna be comedy when we edit in the fart scene.
Right.
Just you wait.
Willem Dafoe, Sam Neill. Like, yeah.
I remember that movie coming out. And it was one of those I like, put on the back burner. Like, I'll get around to this some point. I just never got around to
I
it.
saw it
but I was
years and years later.
Was it good? Did you like it?
I liked it. IMDb has it listed as thriller. I don't know that it was that thrilling, to be honest. It's
kind of like slow.
It's this guy that's a professional hunter, basically, that is hired to hunt basically the last Tasmanian tiger is what it is.
Okay.
He's in Tasmania looking for the last Tasmanian tiger, and he's supposed to shoot it and bring it in for a collector, I think.
Not hunting the Tasmanian devil?
Right. And that is that's his moral dilemma through the whole movie. It's him in the wilderness tracking this animal, and is he going to find it? When he does, what is he going to do? Is he going to actually kill it and end an entire species? Or is he just going to let it go and be the last of its kind and live its life? Like, it's a very heavy film for what it is.
Okay.
But, yeah. It's a lot of him with his gun in the wilderness and then going back to, he rents a room from a lady. That's kind of like his base camp. He goes back to her house occasionally and has conversations and then goes back out hunting.
Gotcha.
That's literally about the whole movie in a nutshell.
That's the movie. With anyone else, it'd be boring.
Willem Dafoe, though,
fucking work.
He
could make it work.
Yeah, it was just great watching him work. Very serious. And then you have him in the goddamn Northman and fucking Boondock Saints.
And the Lighthouse.
Spider-Man. Yeah, John Wick. Very serious role in John Wick too.
Oh, he's one of my favorite characters of that. He's so good.
He's so good. I love that man.
He can be like, what's like crazy about him is you have a lot of actors that can like just play that like really unhinged type of character, but he can just straight up be like one of the most likable people in a movie. He's a deadly assassin in John Wick, and he's lovable. Like, I adore him in that movie. Because, like, think about his character in The Lighthouse, too. You should want to strangle him.
Yeah.
But you really don't.
Lobster, I've seen it.
But you just find him fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
Because of how weird and how good the performance is. God, I love The Lighthouse.
It's so good.
We gotta watch that. We're just gonna record every Halloween is just us recovering The Lighthouse just over and over and over again.
The Thing, Alien, and Lighthouse. That should be the rotation.
Yeah, that's the fucking trifecta right there, bro. You put The Lighthouse last because you're drinking the whole time and you're just like shit faced for that. Hell yeah, dude.
Like, I don't know if it's the movie, if I did drugs and forgot, if I'm drunk, but this movie's weird, bro.
Yeah, but if we do like the trifecta recording of that by the third movie, like by the halfway through The Lighthouse, we're just doing the fucking Berserker Viking dance behind like around a bonfire. It's gonna be fucking awesome, dude.
Oh Jesus.
But yeah, I'm glad we covered this because I think it's really interesting. Ron and I are not like huge history buffs, but I think we're both like like fairly interested in history, and it's always cool to like see a movie that is entertaining, is very artistic, while also like trying to teach you a little bit, about like the culture and stuff. Always cool. I will do our plugs real quick, and then I'll pass it over to Ron so you can say what our next movie is going to be. If you would like to follow the show more, you can always follow us on Twitter at SPR Filmcast. That's where we have our show updates and everything over there. If you would like to give us a rating review on whatever platform you found us on, it always helps. And most importantly, if you have a friend who's into movies, you have a friend who's really into Willem Dafoe,
and farting,
point him in our direction. That's the best way to grow. Ron, what is going to be our next film for our second episode of 2023?
Well, you mentioned The Man by Name earlier in the show.
I've listened to a lot of names, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
I want to cover a movie that I have not seen in some time that is apparently going to be 23 years old soon, which is shocking to me. When's the last time you saw Gone in 60 Seconds, Jeff?
Oh God, a long time.
Yeah, I was thinking it's about time to see what Nicolas Cage was up to 23 years ago.
Yeah.
Dude, think about the cast of this movie.
It's pretty crazy.
Nicolas Cage, Giovanna Ribisi, Angelina Jolie, Timothy Olyphant, Will Patton, Robert Duvall. What's the dude's name? Vinnie Jones. I forgot. Oh, dude, Vinnie Jones is one of the best characters in the thing. Christopher Eccleston when he was trying to break into the American market.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in that.
He's the villain.
Like the bad guy,
this
right?
is 5 years before Doctor Who.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I love Christopher Eccleston.
What is the? I cannot think of his name. God damn it, it's driving me nuts. He is Timothy Olyphant's partner, the main detective. He's in the core. He's the scientist that came up with unobtainium and builds the machine that they use.
You are referring to Delroy Lindo?
Yeah. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, the cast in this movie, and Angelina Jolie was probably known at the time. Vinnie Jones and Christopher Eccleston were not known here. And Nicolas Cage was the big draw to the movie. And everyone in this movie has moved on. Like Robert Duvall was kind of at the end of his career in this. Everyone else moved on to great things after this movie, but they were all relatively unknown.
Yeah, like Nicolas Cage punching Five Nights at Freddy's Muppet Monsters.
Right?
Fuck yes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a good, fun movie with some action, some comedy, and a dumb plot I am willing to get behind. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie, and I actually really love this movie.
I remember liking it quite a bit. I don't think I've seen that in probably 20 years. So it's gonna be interesting because the last time I saw it, I was like fucking like 11 years old.
Apparently, it's available for subscribers to Fubo. It's available to rent at all the usual places.
Okay.
So, but no, I'm a big fan of this movie. I've watched it many, many, many times, and then I one day just quit watching it. I don't really remember why.
It. Huh. Well, yeah,
Eleanor, man. Eleanor.
What was that?
Eleanor. You'll see.
Okay.
You'll see.
I saw Eleanor. That movie. I remember scenes from it, but just don't really remember it as a whole. So I think Eleanor, the cast alone makes it worth checking out.
I think Eleanor was if I recall, like a 67 Mustang Fastback.
Ooh.
Or something.
I love those late 60s Mustangs.
It's the car that every time he tries to steal it, he nearly dies.
Okay.
It's the car that he saves for last. It's the big climax of the movie.
You remember, dude, Nicolas Cage is fucking fascinating. So like now he's just known for making these like really fucking oddball one-off
Renfield?
movies. Like that. And like what's the fucking Five Nights one? What is that one called?
I was trying to think of it the other day. I just think of it as Five Nights. I can't. We covered it.
Wally's Wonderland? Something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that. But like for a time, he was like your summer blockbustery movie actor. Yeah. Like the fucking Rock had Nicolas Cage as the main guy. The like fucking like early summer release Michael Bay action movie. He was like the like go to like what like Brendan Fraser was for a few years. He like the leading guy of like the like family fun adventure movie for the summer.
National Treasure. He's making
National Treasure. Like what a weird career trajectory to like end up he's fucking amazing in did you ever watch the Color Out of Space? That
I've never seen it, but I've heard you talk about it, and I've heard another podcaster talk about it.
He is awesome in that movie.
One of my favorite movies that everybody, even back in the day, made fun of, and I don't get it, but I don't know, I'm a big fan of John Woo to begin with. and John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. So Face Off
Willy's Wonderland. Fucking Willy's Wonderland. I had to figure out what the name was. Sorry.
But I'm a big fan of the movie Face Off. Where
oh yeah. Oh, that too. Same like type of like movie. Like he just was like all over the place. And then
what was the is it Con Air where he has like the luxurious hair?
Yeah, put the bunny down.
I think I saw that movie once. I don't even think I've seen it all the way through. But dude, Face Off is a fucking great movie. Like I said, directed by John Woo, so everything blows up real good.
Yeah, really
lots of gunplay. One of my favorite Hollywood villains of all time will always be John Travolta. And the beginning of that movie, Nicolas Cage is basically the Joker. And him and John Travolta switch places. And then you get fucking evil Nicolas Cage. You switch out to evil John Travolta and then switch back to evil Nicolas Cage. It's amazing.
Yeah, I remember liking Face Off quite a bit.
Face/off.
Yep.
Because there's a hockey movie called Face Off and they couldn't call it Face Off.
Yeah, just like it's fucking fascinating, dude.
Yeah. John Woo is why MI2 is my favorite Mission Impossible movie, by the way. Because everything
is like notoriously like the most hated one.
Which I don't get because they're all fucking terrible except that one.
I think you haven't seen the later good ones. The later ones are actually like pretty good.
No, dude, they get good at like the 5th movie.
No, like after the 3rd one, when they were directed by Brad Bird and the cast consisted of like Jeremy Renner as like a really cool other like main spy guy, and they still had Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames and shit. They actually got pretty good. They got what's her fucking name? The main lady in the later ones is pretty cool too. Rebecca Ferguson, I think is her name.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah.
After MI3, I was done.
Which is sad because like after that they got good.
I'm out. I hate Tom Cruise to begin with.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't like argue with that because he is a fucking nut job, but I still like some of his movies.
Before we sign off, can I just tell one quick story that I have told you before, but I think you still find amusing? Mission Impossible trailer. It was like, we've been framed, team. We have to clear our name. MI2, we've been framed. We have to clear our name. And then when the Mission Impossible 3 trailer debuted, me and our former boss, Mr. Poe, were up in the projection booth, and we had just put the trailer on a film, and that film was running. I feel like it was one of those that came in like midweek, and we like put this on all the movies now, and we had to put it in. So we're standing there at the projector, and at the part in the Mission Impossible 3 trailer, and he's like, "We've been framed. We have to clear our name." Me and Mr. Poe at the exact same time went, "Again?"
Yeah.
How many times have you been disavowed? Yeah.
Oh, there's also one where like, God, I think it might be the 5th one. But
Jesus, there's 5 of them.
There's like 6 of them now.
Oh my God! Stop, please.
Henry Cavill is a villain in one of them.
Doesn't he cock his arms like shotguns?
He is like basic. Okay, you remember in Man from U.N.C.L.E. Basically, he's playing the Russian. He's playing the Russian bad guy.
Oh.
No, sorry, not the Russian bad guy. The Russian main guy. What's his fucking cannibal dude? What's his fucking name?
Army Hammer.
Yeah, he's playing Army Hammer. That type of character. He's just like a fucking like relentless assassin guy. Pretty badass. I would just say. I love me some Henry Cavill kicking some ass. It's pretty great. But yeah. So Gone in 60 Seconds in about 2 weeks' time. Watch that so you can follow along with us in the next episode.
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I'm ready
intrigued.
To green Sally up and green Sally down.
I am intrigued to see what I think about it since I was
with my track record of picking 20-year-old movies, you tend to not like them. So that's what I'm ready for.
But haven't I feel like I've actually liked it. Hold on one second. I'm scrolling back through our catalog. I feel like I've liked a good chunk of the ones you've selected.
I was pretty disappointed with you in Fifth Element. I was really sad. I love that movie so much.
Fifth Element is. I liked Hollywood Homicide.
No, you didn't. Don't give me that. I did a show with you about it.
No, I actually liked it. You know, we had like some conversations about like the plotting and stuff, but I liked it. If you go back and listen to the episode,
I'm gonna have to because I don't believe you.
Yeah,
you and I remember Budapest very differently.
No, I liked Hollywood Homicide. You remember we had like a whole thing where we were talking about how awesome the third act is for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, but that was the only part you liked.
No, I had like some like writing complaints about it, but and then like obviously we're critiquing it for the show. But you go back and listen to it. Like I don't hate it. I like it.
I don't believe you.
Okay, go back and listen to the fucking episode, asshole. Fifth Element, I did not particularly care for.
Oh, it's so sad. That one still hurts. That one was a knife to the heart.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bud. I just didn't care for it.
I love that movie so much. Come on, man. Lockout is still a great movie.
I liked parts of Lockout. Part of Lockout is fucking dumb. Going out of your way to get sued by John Carpenter is pretty dumb.
I like The Losers. I love me some PlayStation 2 graphics.
I like The Losers.
Oh, The Losers is so good.
I liked Tremors and Tremors 2. I don't like it as much as you. I like Sky, and it's not 20 years old, but I like Skyscraper. I've liked most of the stuff you've brought to the show. If you go back and listen, or go back and check out the catalog. Fucker. Scapegoat me to like hating everything you've selected.
You come into my house.
I think you were remembering how teary-eyed and devastated you were over me not liking The Fifth Element, and that kind of like shadowed over all of my opinions.
The Fifth Element is the one that mattered, Jeff. That was the one that mattered. That was the crown jewel of what I had to bring.
Just don't really like it that much, unfortunately.
God, watch it. Watch it again. We'll report back in 2 weeks. There was something I remembered the other day that I told you I was going to watch again and come back, and I do not remember what it was.
I like Deep Rising.
Well, yeah, it's Deep Rising, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Everyone likes Deep Rising.
Yeah.
No one likes Deep Rising, but...
Yeah, you and me are the only two people that like Deep Rising.
Actually, I believe it has like a cult following now.
And it does. It has a cult following of 12 people, so 12 of us like Deep Rising.
Is that how many hits that episode has? All 12 of them showed up for that episode?
22.
Oh, wow.
So the numbers have doubled.
We're doing good.
Yeah.
Well, on that happy note.
It seemed like you were leading to an anecdote about something, and you're just like, well...
I forgot.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, there was something I was supposed to watch it again and report back. Was it, what was the... I think I know what it was. What was it called? Logan Lucky? Is that what it's called? Is that what I was supposed to watch again and report back 2 weeks later, and it's been, like, years?
Actually, that's happened a bunch of times, where... one of us was supposed to revisit a thing and like say what our opinion was after having watched it again, and it never fucking happens because we barely fucking get around to watching the movies we have to cover for the given week.
Dude, Anya Taylor-Joy said that if they'd used period accurate accents, we wouldn't have been able to understand them. I still don't think I know what a single line of dialogue in Logan Lucky was.
Hey.
Like,
it's worth it for fucking...
it was region accurate, and I can't handle that.
It is worth it for fucking prison Benoit Blanc.
Dude.
Okay?
Benoit Blanc back in his dark days.
Yeah, it got real dark, dude.
Oh, it's so good.
I love Logan Lucky. It's so good. It's okay. I have my Logan Lucky. You have Fifth Element. We don't have to agree on everything.
I liked Logan Lucky. I just don't know what they said. It was a foreign language film.
Did you say cauliflower? I love that movie so much. It's so fucking weird.
Oh, God.
Ocean's 7-Eleven is the greatest joke in the history of mankind. I'm just saying.
By the way, that's in my short list. You mentioned Ocean's 11 the other night, and I added that near the top of my list.
Ocean's 11 has been on my short list basically since the show started too. I fucking love me some Ocean's 11.
I fucking love that movie.
We're both nerds for heist movies. So.
Yes. Especially good ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening and popping in for another year that nobody asked for. Screenplay Rewind. Yeah, there you go.
We're back, baby.
We're back.
And we're not leaving.
Yeah. Well, there'd be something to come up. It was like really awkward. I was like, I need to take a little bit of a break, Ron. So we're just not going to record for a month. And like 2 months later, hey, I'm not going to be able to record for a month. So we're going to have to take like a month and a half break. It's like, well, rip.
Well, but you know, when your mother-in-law invites herself over for a month.
I mean, all you got to do is have her on the... I'm sure, has she seen The Fifth Element? Just show her The Fifth Element. We'll talk about it, bro.
She
Has she seen Escape from New York? She's seen Lockout. She could talk about Lockout.
She did watch Frozen and Frozen 2 while she was here.
Oh, there you go.
She also claims she's never seen Moana, although she had seen Moana the last time she was here because her husband had opinions about it. So I remember that because apparently if you take out the obviously fictional parts, meaning all the God-related stuff, it's a good movie.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I'm not touching that. I'm just gonna walk away.
When she said she hasn't seen Moana, Christina was like, "Yeah, you have." I just laughed.
Jesus.
I just laughed my ass off. She was like,
Jesus.
"Yeah, no, you saw it." Yeah, it was great. It was a good time.
Yeah, Gone in 60 Seconds. Check it out. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Thanks for listening. And I hope you all had a safe and happy new year. And stay safe out there. Check out, I mean, it's always just fun. I recommend drinking when you go back to watch older Nicolas Cage movies. Always helps, makes them more entertaining.
Alcoholism, it makes everything better.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Have a good night, everybody.